Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Colony Drop, a Gundam podcast. My name is Brian.
And my name is Isaac. This is your favorite Gundam podcast where we talk about everything from the Universal Century to every other Gundam timeline. And we talk about it all, from the Gunpla to manga, OVAs, anime series, and most importantly of all today, Gundam news.
That's right, Isaac. We have a smattering of topics today. Let's see how far we get.
A plethora, a smorgasbord, a charcuterie of news, Brian?
Ooh, a charcuterie. I feel like there was just a lot of Gundam news in the last few weeks, so I thought we should at least talk about a few of them. The first big thing that kind of happened, it already kind of came and went, so this is a little bit of a retrospective, I guess. But there was this thing, Isaac, called the Gundam Online Expo 2021. For those that don't know, it was a digital event that was held for about 10 days, August 26th to September 6th, and it was kind of directed at the North American fan base. The event had featured, panels, workshops, exclusive merchandise, and sort of a whole bunch of limited streaming content. So like during that window, those dates, they put up a bunch of content that wasn't previously available, on like the Gundam Info YouTube page and on Netflix and Crunchyroll, I believe. What were some of the main attractions that you saw, Isaac?
Well, what I really liked was, first of all, the competition. They had the best Gunpla competition, so that was pretty cool to see. And Brian, did you see it? And did you see who won first place? The mobile suit that won first place?
No, I was actually trying to find pictures of the winners, and I don't know, I guess I wasn't clicking on the right link. But it sounds like you saw the winners. What can you describe to us what some of the finalists are, or at least the winner, I guess? What was it called? The 2021 Gunpla Builders Cup, I think, right?
Something like that, yeah. What was really cool is that the prizes, or at least some of them, were if you won second place, you got a silver model. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's cool. I like that.
Why give them a medal? Let's give them a model. It's it's all silver. Although depending on your skill set, it might be a little difficult to assemble, right? Because it's all the same color.
Right, yeah.
But anyway, I think the one I watched was open course, which I assume means there's almost no restrictions in terms of what you can build and submit.
Right.
As opposed to something that might be maybe, they really wanted to get it as realistic as they could, or they wanted to match almost identically the actual model, how it looks. Open course would be, I believe, you're free to let your creative spirit run wild. And the one I saw that won first place was Providence Gundam from Gundam Seed.
Ooh.
And this guy, Brian, oh my God, they earned it, Brian, because not only was the model perfectly assembled, it was the right colors. It had the whole outline to every little detail, where you can kind of trace things with the black marker designed for models. It's able to show all the outlines. He got all the little stickers in the right places. He earned it. It looked amazing. Yeah. It looked like a miniature they would use if they made a live action Gundam Seed movie or something.
Oh, wow. So whenever you get your Providence, is this guy's work going to be your inspiration?
Maybe. Actually, probably yes, because outside of making the Providence look as realistic as I can, or as much to, to spec as I can, I don't think I'd change the colors that much or anything like that. I think I'd want a Providence Gundam that looks like a Providence Gundam. And he painted the whole thing, by the way. I remember they made it, that one of the judges or commentators made a point of saying, that's not the actual colors. He painted the colors to be what they should be. So The blue parts, yes, the model came out blue, but he painted over it to give it that painted look that we can all identify.
Would you say that blue was Blue Cosmos blue?
Walked into that one. Yes, I would. I would say it was blue and pure. Ooh.
Love it. Oh, interesting. All right, I'm going to have to go check out the rest of those winners.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty cool. I'm glad that the Providence one, something, from the past, not necessarily something that came out this year. So that it doesn't seem like they were super biased for recent kits,
Right, yeah. I'd like to rewatch it too. I'd want to maybe do a vague head count of, okay, mono-wise to Gundams. How many were actually on the field, I
like it.
Yeah.
So that was one big attraction. They announced the 2021 Gunpla Builders Cup winners. Another big part of this event, Isaac, was that there was just going to be a lot of exclusive merchandise. And the way they did this was every day, or maybe 5 of the 10 days or so, they just kind of had these daily drops on the Premium Bandai USA website where North American customers could go and buy this stuff for a limited time. But they had more than 100 exclusive items, Isaac. That's a lot.
Yeah. Oh boy. I can't think of anything in America that kind of does that, right? Usually the volume's way smaller.
Right.
Maybe there'll be like one exclusive thing at like, the Star Wars convention or something like that, other than the usual merch, like, the shirts for that year or whatever. But, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, 100 items. This is like, Supreme going out of business or something and just dropping all of its drops for the next, year or something.
Well, it was a remote distributed pandemic appropriate event, so I think they pulled out all the stops they could in terms of, well, people aren't going to be here, but if they want to feel like they're here, they're probably going to want to order something.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a good move on their part, right?
Yeah.
If you announce this event is happening, everyone's going to be like, oh, okay, now I know of this website, this Premium Bandai website, which we've mentioned a few times on the podcast before. They have lots of cool stuff on there. It's pretty expensive given that it's exclusive, generally.
Yeah.
So it's a little more expensive than like a normal model would be or a normal shirt would be. But I don't know. I think it's a good idea. Were you able to see any of the exclusives? Was there any that caught your eye?
I didn't take too close of a look just because of the sheer volume,
Right.
but I would bet dollars to Dagwin's Donuts, that there's definitely mono eyes that I'd want.
Yeah, there's definitely some mono eyes in there. The things that caught my eye, though, not too many of the Gunpla or something that I probably would have picked up. There was a few that were pretty neat. The one I think I liked the best actually was an SD version of the Crossbone Gundam X1
Wow.
that was like a clear version of it. It was pretty neat. And since we just read Crossbone, I thought that was really appropriate. It's called the SD Gundam Cross Silhouette Crossbone Gundam X1 Cross Silhouette Frame version, clear color. So I'm pretty sure it's already, the pre-orders are already closed on pretty much all this stuff, but you might be able to find it on eBay. If you like exclusive Gunpla, they just released a whole bunch of it, so now would be the time to need to keep an eye out for that one on eBay. Another cool one I saw was there was a silver coated version of the Gundam Barbatos.
Ooh.
That one was kind of neat. I forget what it was called. It wasn't called this, but it was a missed opportunity. They should have called it the Iron version or something,
That would have been great. Yeah.
I'm not actually sure if this last item was a part of the exclusives for the event, but they've actually started to release ebooks on Amazon, Isaac, about Gunpla in English. And another one just came out on August 30th, so that was within the window of the event, so I'm assuming that it was part of the event.
That's interesting.
Yeah, the new one is called Easy Finishes for Weekend Modelers, and it's called Gunpla Super Technique. I think that's the series. So there's two of them now. They're both available on Amazon. They're obviously not going to go out of stock because they're ebooks. So if you're ever interested in English translated Gunpla books, that's pretty cool. I do wish they had like a physical copy, but this is better than anything we've had in the past, Isaac, in terms of, you used to see pictures of all the Gunpla magazines in Japan, and obviously they were never going to come over here translated, so this is kind of neat.
Yeah, the closest you get is like what, New Type magazine?
Is New Type USA physical magazine even still around? I mean, I know
I don't know.
I know they're still online, but
I'd be surprised, but whenever, even though it was a New Type magazine, you'd be lucky if there were like a handful of articles in there related to Gunpla.
yeah, that's true.
Everything else was like, here's a new show you should buy. Here's another show you should buy. Here's a movie you should buy.
Yeah, and a New Type USA subscription was really expensive when it first came out, like prohibitively expensive if you were in that age range where you were a teenager but didn't have a job, which is a lot of anime fans, I think.
Right. From what I remember, though, and maybe in their defense, like I remember it was a sizable magazine, though.
Oh, it was enormous, and it was
Yeah.
like very high quality. I'm not saying the magazine wasn't good; it was great.
Yeah, I don't remember how much it actually was, but like depending on the price you got, what you paid for.
Yeah, that's true. Another thing that was neat about the event, Isaac, was there was a Gundam Factory Yokohama Special Insider Tour, where they went around the newest life-size version of the RX-78, which is, I think the model number is the RX-78F00, and that's the biggest one that they made, kind of for the Olympics. It's sitting outside the Yokohama Gundam Factory. I forget how long the video is, like maybe 20 minutes or so, but it shows you how it moves, and there's this guy going up. You get pretty close to it. So if you're not going to Yokohama anytime soon, which is probably most people, this is a great way to go look at the Gundam, the life-size Gundam there. And this video is still up, so seems like they're not going to take it down, which is pretty cool. So I would encourage everyone to go check it out. I thought it was pretty neat.
Yeah, I remember watching the video, or at least part of it, and it's only by, I think, seeing the video of like the leg section that you really grasp the scale of a Gundam. It's way bigger than I thought it would be. It's almost comparable to a space shuttle, I imagine. Or at least that whole docking bay thing that it was in really made it feel space shuttle-y.
Yeah, that docking bay is getting pretty famous. They're selling all kinds of models of that docking bay. Like, that was one of the exclusives. You could buy the Yokohama Gundam version, and it would come with a little docking bay.
That's so cool. I definitely want to see it when I go to Tokyo.
So Gundam's what, 18 meters or so?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. The space shuttle is 56 meters, so it's
okay.
The space shuttle's a little bigger.
A little bigger.
A little bigger.
But you know what? The space shuttle doesn't have weapons.
That you know about.
Yeah. They gotta start doing something to those shuttles in Gundam, like put shields on them or something. How come there's like a resolution in the Federation that like all shuttles from now on need beam shields?
Yeah, they're always so defenseless, right?
Yeah, they get blown out of space left and right.
Yeah, you never want to be on a shuttle in Gundam. I feel like that's just 50-50 chance you're going to get shot down.
Yeah, also like there's like a 75% chance that if you board a shuttle, you're going to fly past combat.
Right, yeah. Another thing that you touched on that is unfortunately it's been taken down. I guess I don't know if was it live? It was that virtual reality tour of the Gundam base store in Tokyo.
Right.
I would have liked to seen that. That sounded pretty neat.
I know. I wonder why like they didn't just post a recording. Maybe it's in editing or
I don't know. I was wondering that too. Do you think it's to like drive people to attend the event live?
Maybe, or by VR, do they mean like you need an Oculus or other like or some Samsung VR goggles in order to actually enjoy the experience?
Could be, yeah. I don't have an Oculus or any of those things, so I don't even really know how that works. But if any of listeners out there were able to attend the VR tour of Gundam Base, let us know how it was and if you enjoyed it.
Brian, something just crossed my mind and I had to bring it up. Can you imagine an Oculus Gundam game where you're in like the cockpit?
Oh, well, that's where we got to be headed, right?
I mean, how's that not in the pipeline?
I think they're probably just waiting for VR games to get a little better. I don't have any VR set, but I know a few people that do, and they've told me that over the last 2 years that VR games have been getting pretty good. So I don't know, Isaac. I think in the next 10 years, I think we're going to get there.
I think I'm going to be in a dom before in the next few years. I'm going to be inside one and just blowing up those GMs.
That'll be our life achievement, right? To get in that dom before you get in the retirement home.
Probably, yeah. I'd be like, I fought for the glory of Xeon.
I participated in a Baoku.
Like, yeah, that old man keeps talking about something called the 1 Year War. I don't really remember the U.S. being involved in that.
One of the panels I saw was the Tamashii Nations panel I think there were a few R&D managers there and they were discussing all the latest action figures. I mean, Isaac, you and I are not really into Gundam action figures, but I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who are. But so if you are into Gundam action figures, this panel is still up. It's still available for you to watch on the Gundam Info channel on YouTube. It's 42 minutes long, which is a pretty sizable panel. And I think they go through a lot of the newer action figures. So if you're one of those people who goes to Comic-Con and you attend panels or at panels at anime convention and you like Gundam action figures, this seems like a neat watch.
Yeah, definitely. That's pretty cool.
Have you been to Target lately, Isaac?
No, Brian. What am I missing at Target?
Because I was just at Target today, and they have these action figures that were in the panel.
Mm-hmm.
But they're in, not the normal action figure section. They're in, the collectible section near the video games. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where they have, nostalgic stuff.
Right, where you'd find, the amiibos, kind of, right?
Kind of, yeah, in, the back. Yeah, so they now are stocking these Tamashii Nations figures, as well as they do have some Gunpla back there. They have some entry grades. I've seen some high grade RX-78s, high grade I think Barbatoses and Sharazakus as well. And I read somewhere that they had a master grade Barbatos as well. So I don't know, Isaac. Remember back when we were getting into Gundam? Gundam was in stores. You could go to Toys R Us. They maybe didn't have the greatest selection, but the models were there. So maybe it's making a little bit of a comeback.
You know what? I'm all for it. To an extent, action figure Gundams have always kind of been lowbrow for most average Gundam fans, right? Because you hold the models in such high esteem. Or is that just me?
I mean, I think Gundam is just so associated with the models that the action figures are a little bit of an afterthought. But the new ones look a lot better than the ones that we had.
Right, and if you're, younger, you maybe don't want to spend too much time on the model, you just grab the action figure. Hopefully we get to the point where, like, that's equally respected,
And there's something out there for everybody, right? So
there you go. Yeah. You can load up on Leo action figures.
And then, Isaac, maybe my favorite thing from the event was they got Adam Savage of Mythbusters fame to come in and build the perfect grade RX-78-2 Unleashed. Him and his team built it from scratch all the way to finish, and they filmed the whole thing. I think the video is, 20-something minutes long? It's obviously compressed, and I think you watched it as well. That was pretty cool. I really liked that.
I thought it was maybe one of the best model model assembly videos that I've seen. I mean, sure, he didn't do everything by himself. Kind of a disclaimer. He had 3 people helping him, but it was just so fun to sort of see him, geek out really and enjoy the process of building it. He would talk about like the molding process and, just the quality of work and the perfect grade. And then we saw the finished one, and it was everything a perfect grade should be. You could tell it had weight to it, really good stability with its posing abilities. Watching it really made me wish I had that perfect grade. And I say that as like a Mono-Eye fan.
I don't know what's coming over Isaac. He's all of a sudden liking Gundams now. He's liking the Crossbones. He's liking the perfect grade RX-78. I don't know what to think anymore.
Liking the Crossbones.
You were a big fan of the X2.
Yeah, but I mean, if every model was available from Crossbone Gundam, I think I'd be leaning heavily for the Jupiter ones because of just how unique they looked.
Even the Tortuga?
Not necessarily that, but like the Royal Guard unit, that was pretty cool. Yeah. The run-of-the-mill kind of Jupiter ones that were skulls, those were cool. Things like that before going to like, another Gundam.
Got it. All right. Fair enough. Yeah.
I hope you'd back me up too on that, Brian, because like how unique Jupiter was, their units and all that, and how rare.
Yeah, that's true. I liked some of the Jupiter units. That's what they should have had at this event, Isaac. They should have had an exclusive 1/100 Divinidad.
Oh God, yeah.
I think it would be enormous. It'd be as big as my desk, but it'd be cool.
Probably, yeah. God, that'd be cool though. Have like a little Dogati inside.
But is it the real Dogati?
Oh. We better hope it's... they got to give you 2, right? The Mandroid and then a Dogati Prime.
Oh, yeah, you could switch them out.
Yeah, you got to decide which one you're going to be.
Back to Adam Savage, I think he was the perfect guy to get for this promotion. I think there's probably a pretty decent crossover there between Mythbusters fans and Gundam fans. And he just had a lot of enthusiasm for the build. And, this is a very promotional event, right, for the North American audience. So if you're trying to pull people in, he's the perfect guy to get to do that. Whoever thought of getting him and went and got it done, they deserve a promotion. Like, that was a great idea.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I mean, why not, right?
Yeah, and he's just one of those guys... and maybe some people disagree, but Adam Savage has a lot of enthusiasm for things that he likes and things that he enjoys. And that's, if you've ever watched Mythbusters, that came through in the show. And it comes through in this video. So if that sounds like funny to you, I would at least encourage everyone to go watch maybe 5 minutes of it. I mean, it's 20-something minutes, so it's a longer video, but it's pretty fun. I sat down thinking I would watch 10 minutes or so, and I ended up watching the whole thing. I thought it was really fun, highly recommend it, and... I thought that was maybe the greatest decision they made about this online expo. So
definitely, like, I don't know, this might sound corny, but he very much approached it with a sense of childlike wonder.
Yeah, you could just tell he was having a great time.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how all Gundam building processes should be. But sadly, some of us get easily frustrated, right, Brian? Like, this leg won't come together.
It is too small.
This is a Federation plot.
It does a really good job of showing how detailed the RX-78 Perfect Grade Unleashed is. That thing is a beast, Isaac.
Yeah. Oh, the metal in like it's kind of upper chassis area. That was cool. How many parts were actually in the head? Man, it's gonna be so cool to build one.
And it's fairly reasonably priced. I think it's $300,
Wow.
which for that is pretty good. Like it's hard to buy.
Some of our listeners right now just kind of like swooned.
Yeah, probably.
like, come on, Brian, that's a console.
But I mean, there are a lot of things that are more expensive than that nowadays. I feel like the price of a perfect grade has not really increased that much from 20 years ago.
I don't know. We'll have to look at like our perfect grade inflation meter in order for us to track the price of inflation and perfect grades over the years.
I remember that perfect grades were at least $200 back in 2004-ish.
Okay, so they have inflated a bit.
A little bit, but I mean, this one is way better than the original RX-78 perfect grade.
Right. Plus, it's it's a flagship. So
yeah, that was the Gundam Online Expo. Oh wait, I forgot about the streaming. This was a big part of the event too, Isaac. They had a whole bunch of special content streaming during that time frame. One, they put up the Gundam movie trilogy, which is also on Netflix now, but I mean, that's always good to put up someplace, right?
Right.
They put up the first two compilation movies of Reconquista in G, which took me totally by surprise. That was pretty cool. I wish I would have watched those.
Yeah, it would have been, well, I mean, going into Reconquista in G's half blind now, since we know a bit more about it, it still would have been cool to see.
Again, they're compiling the series into 5 movies, but they put the first 2 up for this event. I think I want to watch the series via these movies, since Tomino is like going back and adding more dialogue and stuff. So I think I'm just going to wait for these movies to be done, because I haven't actually watched Reconquista in G, and I don't think you have either. So I think I'm just going to wait for this compilation project to be done, and then we'll watch it.
Do you think they're going to release it dubbed?
It's a good question. Probably not.
Okay.
I would bet against it.
You know what? I'll bite the bullet and watch it anyway, subbed.
The sacrifices you make, Isaac.
Oh, it's so laborious.
They also released the first episode of Gundam Build Real, that live-action show about the model building team.
Oh yeah, we're like there's 5 of them, right? And each one has a different role.
Yeah. So I kind of wish I would have watched that, but I'm kind of waiting for them to just release the whole series. I kind of just want to watch it all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, consuming something bite-sized like that, right? Like under 30 minutes, probably 20, 22, something like that. It's going to be kind of painstaking. But if you watch the whole series at once, like binge it, as if we're doing it Netflix style, it'd be more enjoyable, since that's what we're used to now.
I don't even know the status of Gundam Build Real, if it's still going or if it's over or what, but I'm hoping that they just kind of add that one on to the Gundam Info YouTube channel whenever it's done and fully subbed. I don't see that getting like a wide release over here, Isaac, unless they put it on Netflix as part of some overall deal with Netflix.
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever see the light of day in the United States.
Yeah, that one screams YouTube to me.
Maybe, or as long as we don't talk about it, right? Or we'll torpedo it like we did Afterglow of Xeon.
Oh yeah, good point. We don't want to promote it. So Isaac, that was kind of the Gundam Online Expo. I mean, so in general, do you think this event is a good idea? Should they do it every year? And what are some ways you think it could be better?
You know what? I'd almost want to see some type of like Twitch integration with it, where like we're live streaming models being built or Gundam games happening at the same time. I feel like that would really bring in some critical demographics, baby.
Okay, that's a good idea. Yeah, more live participation.
Yeah, maybe live viewing of way more series or movies, having a chat forum also while the movie's happening.
That could go poorly too. Anytime you open up chat, that's a dangerous proposition.
It'll just be like Japanese comments and then English comments and then all the other languages.
That would be the most amazing like live flame war between fans of different timelines.
People be like going to Google Translate, copy and pasting stuff really quickly.
I would totally add in, like the 00 movie was terrible and I'm not backing down.
Oh yeah, well maybe we should all like watch the 00 movie as like a group just to like flame it, just fill the chat section with comedy and jokes.
We'll have to record like a live watch without the movie in it because they'll take it down if the movie's in it.
I know it's a ways away, but like I'm half dreading, half looking forward to like our Double O movie watching our review episode. Like it's gonna be wrapped there with G Savior.
Yeah, it'll be pretty good. I don't think anyone thinks gonna top the Double O
God,
movie.
what's better or worse, G Savior or the Double O movie?
I think Double O movie was worse. I think G Savior was a decent idea. It was just the execution was just awkward.
That's true.
Whereas like the Double O movie, I just fundamentally disagree with the idea.
Yeah, I mean, with the reputation G Savior has, I was about to say, can we like, should we find some of the cast or like the writers?
I wonder if they would come on. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I'm not sure they'd want to come on, like knowing our opinion of. I mean, it's not our opinion of like their acting or anything like that. It's more,
right.
Like really, the writers did this with the Universal Century.
So some ways I was thinking that it could be better is I do wish the streaming windows were a little bit longer. Like if you were busy during this time, then you're kind of out of luck.
Yeah.
Which maybe that's the point, but I don't know. Maybe I was thinking like a month would have been better.
You mean have this run for a month?
No, just leave the content up for a month.
Oh, yeah, that would make more sense. Run for a month.
And then the other thing I was thinking is maybe in addition to some of these exclusive items that they released, which a lot of them were like kits that were only in Japan, either at the Gundam base or at the Gundam factory. I think they should have also just brought back some of the more popular premium Bandai kits that sell out really quickly. Because you're already getting everyone to pay attention because of the Expo, and this would have been a good opportunity to like bring some of the big sellers, the big favorites back that maybe people haven't had a chance to buy in a long time.
Would have been a nice thought.
But I do think they should continue doing the event. I think it's a good idea. I hope they do it again next year, and hopefully I'm able to attend the whatever VR tours they have lined up next time.
Yeah, for-notice. Maybe they could show us more of that cool Gundam game, the capsule one.
Oh yeah.
I don't have a tournament for that. Integrate that into like the event. That'd be cool.
Yeah, and that's where you could get you could introduce the teams. I think that'd be fun, right? They'd have to pick a team name.
Oh, that's solo fights, squadron fights, battle royale. You could do a lot. Man.
I like it. Bring it over here. They could have it, North American arcade. I mean, I guess we don't really have arcades here, but they could put it somewhere.
Yeah, we'll host it. We'll like.
You can put it in my garage, Sunrise.
Yeah, after we. After our success with Afterglow Xeon, we volunteer to be like the hosts and commentators for the Gundam Capsule Wars tournament.
Oh man, we would interview the shit out of those teams.
Isaac keeps criticizing the Gundams and only praising the mono line.
He seems really biased. Like you would totally be like the Jerry the King Lawler, where you favor all the bad guys.
Probably. So you're gonna be like, what are you gonna be, the Jim Ross?
I guess so. Yeah, someone has to be like the what do they call the straight man or
we still have to do like a Jim Ross edit of like Gundam fights.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Scenes. As God is my witness, he is broken in half.
He is broken. He's dead. He killed him.
I guarantee that'll stop your heart.
Oh, through the table. I'm surprised it doesn't exist yet.
Clearly, it's waiting for us to do, Brian.
Well, we'll add that right after we get through the Double Zeta fan dub.
It's the biggest ladder I've ever seen. Oh, we can do that for the space elevator.
Oh yeah, there you go.
It's in Double O before they fight it or something.
Oh, I miss JR.
Oh, he was great. Wait, did he pass?
No, he doesn't work in WWE anymore. He works in the rival promotion AEW.
Yeah, poor guy. I heard he got dismissed for possibly questionable circumstances.
Oh yeah. I heard he makes good barbecue sauce.
Yeah, fans, this has nothing to do with Gundam.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's some crossover WWE fans, but
I don't know. Can you imagine like wrestling with Gundams?
It's basically G Gundam, but with wrestling.
Yeah, but I don't know. That was almost too combat-y. Like with wrestling though, it'd be, I don't know.
But that'd be pretty funny if like another Gundam hit another one with a chair.
Yeah, like they're in a ring, but it's like a massive chair.
Yeah.
There's a cage.
I'd watch that before I watch the Double O movie.
Yeah, I'd watch anything before the Double O movie. Are you kidding? It's gonna be such a chore.
Sorry, Double O fans.
No, they're not. They know what's happening.
Next item on the list, Isaac, is the progenitor of Gundam, the creator of Gundam, Yoshiyuki Tomino. He did a pretty big interview with a magazine called Weekly Playboy. Not where I would expect him to be doing interviews.
Maybe he is an avid he's an avid member. He's an avid subscriber, Brian. He just loves that magazine.
He's a man of culture.
Yeah, he enjoys it for the articles.
I don't even know if this is the same kind of Playboy.
I doubt it.
It's a Japanese magazine. It's not the USA Playboy. So for all I know, it could be something completely different. Maybe it's like about people who play games. I don't know. But he talked about a lot of things during this interview, Isaac, and a few of them I think are worth highlighting. One, he told everyone or made public knowledge that he has a pretty serious medical condition now called spinal canal stenosis, which is where spaces within your spine, they get narrower over time, and it obviously can cause, pain and difficulty getting around. So that's a pretty big bummer for Gundam fans everywhere. I mean, Tomino's getting older. He's 79. This stuff happens when you get old, but no one likes to see it happen. During the interview, he said that he estimates he has 3 years left working at an animation studio. And I think he's probably going to spend most of that time working on those Reconquista and G movies. So, I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever get another Gundam project from him, but that's kind of sad news. But it seems like he's still doing okay. I don't know. How did you react to that, Isaac?
It was pretty sad to hear. He's not going to be with us forever. And I think all the fans wish him the best. And he has our thoughts and our prayers and our positive vibes. Hopefully we get some type of final project from him. Maybe not like a magnum opus or anything like that, but for lack of a better phrase, a goodbye project. A final work of his before he kind of retires and maybe just works remotely from his home or chips in from his home to the studio.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of impressive that he's still even working at 79. I mean, I don't know many people who are working at 79, so good for him.
Yeah.
I hope whatever he does with his last time that he feels he can work in a studio is something that he enjoys. I hope Sunrise doesn't be like, we need you to do this, and it's just not something he enjoys. So I hope whatever it is he spends his time on, it's something he enjoys. And yeah, like you said, I think all Gundam fans would send their thoughts and prayers his way, and probably just a thank you, right, for everything he's given us.
Yeah, thank you for building this universe. And since he's still working on it now, it's clearly his baby, and why not, right? What a lucky man to be able to do all this with his empire, his whole dream.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's probably some people out there who, might say like, oh, I hope you can keep going longer. And I don't know, man. I mean, everyone deserves to retire at some point. So whenever he decides to hang it up, I think he well deserved.
Yeah, he can easily pass the torch anytime. And to an extent that's already been passed because there's so many teams and directors and writers already working on Gundam. But it's a moral reminder that while he may be aging, Gundam will live forever, Brian.
Totally agree. But there are two other items that he spoke on, Isaac, which are pretty interesting. One, he's pretty skeptical right now of space colonization and the efforts. He said politicians, financiers, and space explorers are not thinking about how harsh things will be in the near future. They're not thinking about things like, isn't it stupid to be saying what a territory is in space? To the fundamental point, what even are people going to do on the colony? Humans need air and water to live in space, right? How are they going to live in space? Then he went on to say how crude the idea of launching rockets is. And he brought up this example of this area in Russia around the Cosmodrome where a bunch of species and animals died off or had a lot of problems because of rocket fuel fumes and
afterburn, I believe was the phrase or something like that.
Yeah. So I think that's like right in line with his character, Isaac, to be pessimistic. What do you think?
So yes, it's very Tomino, who, as we all know, has kind of had an on-again, off-again struggle with mild depression to severe. At least allegedly, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I have to agree with him to an extent, though, right? Like, in Gundam, it's not really billionaires and private corporations colonizing space and stuff like that. It was very much a united effort by Earth's countries working together under the Federation, or even like, just larger governments in general, and like the alternate time series, like or alternate universes like Iron-Blooded Orphans. The waste that's made by rockets, I don't know too much about that, but it kind of makes sense, right? I mean, any type of engine seems to produce exhaust and all kinds of toxic chemicals and things you probably don't want to be inhaling. So right. The idea that we can do thousands of these to get people into space, if not tens of thousands or more, and not have any environmental consequences is, I guess that's definitely a factor to consider. As for building a space elevator, I think it'd be epic, so I support him.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with him. I think if you want to call this like a space race, what's happening right now, It does seem very, I don't know,
Vain?
vain and artificial, right? It's almost like everyone's just picking their favorite mascot. Like, do you like Musk, or do you know, or do you like Branson, or do you like Bezos? They're not taking you into space with them. Granted, I guess they're making strides in this area, but if you're interested in space colonization from the perspective that, you know, Gundam has, where you need millions of people to live in space one day, I don't think that's really their concern right now, even if they make it seem that way right now. I don't know. I think vain is a good way to describe it, like you said.
Yeah. At the risk of sounding naive, it would be cool if, like, I don't know, China, the United States, Russia, Europe, and, you know, Japan, everybody else, we all put aside our differences, and kind of like the Olympics, we decided to do, you know, a space program together. You know, everybody shows up and does their stuff together. And sure, there's a lot of cooperation with, like, the International Space Station and stuff like that. But Moon base and then Mars base and all that under a national initiative, because the SpaceX stuff and, you know, Blue Origin, yeah, it's cool in its own way and flashy and all that, but I imagine it has a very different feel if you were alive during the actual space race with, like, the Soviet Union. That must have been amazing.
Totally agree. That's exactly how I kind of would have expected him to answer that question, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, as a very realistic and a sobering response to the whole billionaire space race, and how it's not quite human colonization.
And the last thing I'll mention in that interview that he talked about, Isaac, was he sort of commented on what he thought of the Gundam Hathaway film, but not really. But by not commenting, he kind of commented. So he said that basically he's watched the film, but he has no comment about the film.
Oh boy.
I think he said something like, I haven't told anyone what I think about it. And because, again, he was not actually involved with the production of the film, other than, you know, writing the source material back in 1989. So from his perspective, like, this is kind of like an old thing, right? I mean, it's not like he was there working on it. So imagine if you wrote something and then 30 years later someone made it into the movie and you weren't involved in the movie and they asked you to comment on it. So maybe he's taking the high road here. I don't know. But he compared it to this time when he directed a movie for another very famous Japanese author. I'm probably going to butcher this guy's name, but Osamu Tezuka?
Yeah, that's him.
I mean, he's the creator of Astro Boy. He's, like, you know, legendary.
Yeah, Metropolis.
Yeah. So apparently Tomino directed a movie of one of his works called Triton of the Sea, where he was not involved. And I don't think Tezuka liked his version of Triton of the Sea very much. So that kind of tells you that maybe Tomino had a different idea of what Hathaway should have been compared to what the final film was, even though I think the fan base reaction to Hathaway has been very positive. So I wish he would comment. I'd be interested just to hear what he thinks, even if he didn't like it.
If we can, like, try to at least attempt to read between the lines, either incorrectly or correctly, maybe it's a case of, you know, you had your baby and somebody else took it away and raised it.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah. He probably had a specific look he wanted. As you remember, the Hathaway team very clearly said that they wanted to make it as almost as if they were making a real life movie. Maybe he wanted to go in a different way with it. He wanted it maybe to have the original look of 0079 because that's how he imagined it. He prefers a different animation style than the much more realistic and crisp tone that the UC's taken over. There's really a lot of different things that maybe he's holding back on that you could try to read between the lines and accurately or inaccurately guess. That's what it's about.
Absolutely. And I mean, if you just watch Hathaway, you can tell that it's not the same director as F91 or Char's Counterattack, right?
Yeah.
Those are very different movies. So Tomino just has a very different style, and I'm sure that he would have envisioned the movie in his style. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's his thing, right? He wrote it, so.
Yeah. I would go a step further, though, and say if there wasn't a Gundam on screen, you would assume you weren't watching Gundam.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought that was very interesting that he commented on it, but without really commenting on it. I'm surprised they even published that, to be honest.
On the advice of my attorney, I've decided not to comment against my employer. I'm like, all right, Tomino, I think we know what you think by now.
Two last news items that are sort of related, Isaac. The second film in the Hathaway trilogy has a subtitle. It's going to be called Son of Bright, which kind of has two meanings. There's a little bit of a pun, like the sun, you know, the star.
Of course.
And then there's SON, meaning the family son of Captain Bright Noah. What's your reaction to that, Isaac?
Well, I wonder who will be seen introduced in this second movie, Brian.
Could it be Bright Noah?
I imagine he'll be in it. He'll play a pivotal role, probably a lot of interaction with Hathaway leading up to the third movie. Who knows what's actually going to happen in this? I haven't read ahead. I don't plan to. And really anything can happen. I just hope we get more mobile suit combat and, yeah, more interesting scenes with Gigi.
It sounds like Tomino's already discussed adapting the second part of the trilogy with the producer, Ogata. So, I don't think that Tomino particularly hates the adaptation or anything. I mean, he's still talking to Sunrise about it. So I don't want everyone to come out of this podcast thinking that Tomino hates it or whatever. But it did sound like Tomino had some reservations about adapting the second one. He didn't think that maybe as it was, it could be adapted well into a film. So it does sound like there might be a few changes. But it sounds like he already talked to the producer about it. So I don't know. I mean, he's not like heavily involved, it sounds like, but it sounds like he's still talking to him a little bit. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, maybe they're kind of George Lucasing him, right? Like they'll turn to him for some information and stuff like that while they do the actual technical details and keep going with their plan.
So hopefully Tomino's hand is there in some form.
Guiding the way. He's the Lala of Sunrise at this point.
And last point, Isaac, I would say just in general, since we started this podcast and one of our first podcasts was how to get into Gundam, and we went over all the different series that were available on different streaming services. There's actually been a fairly decent amount of additions since we did that episode. So we should probably do another one in the future. But this week, Funimation added a bunch of stuff. They added Gundam Wing, which that was already on Hulu, I'm pretty sure. It's not like a huge change. They added The Origin, which I feel like is everywhere. I feel like that's on Hulu and Netflix. Maybe it's not on Netflix anymore. I don't remember. They also added Gundam Narrative, which that's interesting. But I found the most interesting thing that they added to be Zeta Gundam, Isaac. This is the first time, to my knowledge, Zeta Gundam's ever been on streaming.
Yeah, mine too. And I think this is amazing, though, because you can watch the original series and immediately go into Zeta. And from there, sure, there isn't double Zeta, but that's half forgettable. You can go straight into Char's counterattack.
You make a good point, because Funimation is also where you can watch the original Mobile Suit Gundam series. And just like we thought a few months ago when they added that, we figured they would eventually add Zeta Gundam. So in another 3-6 months, I bet we see Double Zeta get popped up on there. I'm sure Funimation tried to get all of it.
Sadly, fans will be disappointed that it's not dubbed.
Wouldn't that just blow you away if when they put it on there next, it had a dub?
Yeah, I mean, even though like they only had like their staff members and employees dub it, I'd still be happy with that.
Look, Sunrise, I will quit my job and come in and dub it for you, right? Like, I can at least do the voiceover, like the guy in the beginning, like the year is Universal Century 0079. Like, we could do that.
Yeah.
We will contribute. Let's get it dubbed, Sunrise.
We'll be like the random pilot that gets killed, or the engineer in the hangar bay that like only says 3 lines, like, "Hey, don't forget to check your targeting system." Okay.
So pretty exciting news. Zeta Gundam's available. There was one listener, I remember, Isaac, his or her name escapes me at the moment, but he was wondering several months ago about the best way to go about seeing Zeta. I told him, one day I hope it comes on streaming. And look, your prayers have been answered. It is now available. So go to town, everyone. Who knows when they're going to take it off? So I would try to watch it the next year if you can.
I'm going to watch it, definitely.
Yeah, we're going to try to get to Zeta in the next year, folks.
Maybe we'll do the original this year, but who knows? We'll see.
For episode 0079, we're going to do the original series.
Oh, that's awesome. Look at you, Brian, thinking ahead.
Yeah.
Nice. Dagwin would be proud. If only he thought ahead. He wouldn't have gone to that peace negotiation. The great Dagwin had never fired a shot in combat.
So that's it for this week, everybody. Make sure to leave us some comments. Let us know what you thought about the Gundam Online Expo. What was your favorite exclusive merchandise? Did you buy anything? Did you take the virtual tour? Did you enjoy Adam Savage building that perfect grade Unleashed? Were you jealous that they gave him one and they didn't give you one, and you're going to have to pay $300 for it, whereas I'm sure Adam Savage got it for free and got to take it home?
What would you like to see next year? Is there anything you'd like to add? Is there like a cool, maybe competitive feature you'd like? Let us know below.
All right, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. Isaac, take us away.
All right, everybody. Before you go to sleep tonight, don't forget to stand next to your bed. Get on your knees. Put your hands together. Look up at the ceiling and hail Yoshiyuki Tomino.
Good night, everybody.